Picking the right business model when starting out is a huge cheat code in life. It can literally save you years and years and years of failure, sleepless nights, stress, demotivation, and just being confused and spinning your wheels. It is that important. Today, I will be answering one of the most asked questions that I get online. Should I start a social media marketing agency? Should I go and start an AI automation agency? Or should I just start a B2B lead generation agency? And the truth be told, each one of these models has its own pros, it has its own cons, and it has its own quote-unquote career paths. It's gonna take you into a different direction than the other ones. And because of those reasons, it is extremely important that you pick a business model that actually fits your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own goals, and your own desires. Because that way, you'll just get the best possible results, the most amount of fulfillment in the shortest amount of time. So even if you have destroyed your attention span completely by scrolling TikTok and frying your dopamine receptors every single day, I strongly advise that you stick through to the end of the video because it's a huge cheat code and it will save you years when done correctly. So here on my whiteboard, we can see 3 different boxes, 3 different sections and business models. And like I said, we're gonna go through business model by business model and go through all of the pros and cons and who should go with this business model. Just something that I also want to mention. Every single time when I talk about advantages and strengths and weaknesses of different business models, I get a bunch of people coming into my comment section and crying and coping like, oh, that's not true, you're saying this wrong, blah, blah, blah. Like if that's gonna be you, I just recommend that you go to Reddit or Facebook or something and you do that there because we are actually trying to learn here, you know? Nobody asks. First thing first, SMMA. This is something that I have also personally done. I know a lot of people who do this, and the SMMA business model has been out there in the YouTube and in digital marketing space for sure easily over 10 years, from Tai Lopez, from Iman Gadzhi, from all of these dudes. Even though it is an old model, it for sure has its own pros. So to talk about the pros first, in my opinion, one of the best pros and best advantages of this model is that it actually provides tangible value to the client. Like if you are actually able to measure the ROI on your actual services, it's way easier to sell. You get better case studies, you can charge way more, you can feel way better, and there's never gonna be confusion if you're actually providing value or not. You can spend $1,000 on Facebook ads and you can get $3,000 back. And then you can show to the client that, okay, this is what we did and this is what you are paying for. The second thing, in my opinion, that is really great with the SMMA business model, it forces you to think about marketing on full spectrum. Pretty much what I mean is when you are running social media marketing ads, of course, it's more advanced, it's more in depth, but you actually have to think about what is the landing page you're driving traffic for? How is their funnel? What is their conversion rate? What is their AOV? What is their LTV? What is the target audience? You need to do market research. You need to learn the right copy. You need to learn to create all of these big creatives, etc. So it forces you to actually get exposed to a wider part of marketing than just the Facebook business ad manager. And then the third pro of this model, in my opinion, is the huge opportunity to become an expert. And what I mean by this is, of course, every single thing that you do, you have a huge opportunity to become an expert. But if you just look at all of the SMMA agencies across the board and all the people who do Facebook advertising and YouTube advertising and paid advertising, like 90% of them suck. If you actually stick to the model and if you actually stick to the service and do it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even 10 years, and you actually get good, you get a bunch of clients, you spend millions and millions and millions on advertising and you invest a lot in yourself and in your learning and you really analyze what you're doing, you are going to be extremely valuable person. So then for a few cons that come in mind, and just to keep in mind, these are things that I just see in the market and I have experienced myself. Literally, I have probably over 100 clients who have done SMMA in the past, and I have probably over 100 people that I have talked to, besides my clients who have been in the SMMA market. I have been involved in that stuff for years. So for a few cons, in my opinion, the first and one of the biggest cons is, if you're just starting out with this model, is that there is 2 high-level skill sets that you need to learn. You need to learn to do 2 really valuable skill sets at once and at the same time. You need to learn first how to actually get clients. So you need to figure out how to do outbound or inbound or content or lead generation, whatever. You need to be able to get calls booked in their calendar, and then you need to learn to do Facebook advertising. And just becoming good at one thing can take a year or 2 or 6 months, and becoming great or actually an expert level is gonna take 5 years. So if you need to learn to do both of those things at once, what it's gonna do is gonna pretty much just restrict your learning potential. Then the second con is media budget. In order for you to get really good results for your client, you need to pretty much close them on 2 things. You first need to close them on your own retainer. So let's say you need to close them on paying you $3,000 a month or 2.5K a month. And then you need to close them on spending $5,000 a month on ads or $7,500 on ads to actually get them good results. So you're not just closing a 2.5K deal, you're closing a 10K deal in total or a 7.5K deal in total. And that's pretty much what the client sees. Okay, if we want to do this thing, we need to spend $10,000 a month instead of 2.5K a month, which of course makes the deals harder to close. You need a bit more trust to do it, and you need a little bit more trial and iteration, better case studies, better referrals, etc. So in my opinion, that's a bit of a negative side as well, because that's something that I have experienced myself and I have been doing this. Then the third thing that I just want to quickly mention is competition. Competition is fairly fierce in the SMMA industry, especially for beginners, because there's a lot of really big names who have big courses. And of course, I'm not saying that saturation is something that you should be scared of. If there's saturation, it means that there's money in the market, and you just need to innovate, and you just need to be more unique, and you just need to be better. But when you're starting out, it for sure can add friction to the process, because the people are going to be pitching on social media marketing and doing Facebook advertising. They have probably heard the pitch already hundreds of times. There's a lot of people in the market who have started doing this 10 years ago. You should never be afraid of competition, but it's just something that you should take into consideration. Then the fourth con is platform reliability. One thing that I don't particularly like when I run a business or when I do marketing or when I work with a client is if we are reliant on one platform and the changes that the platform makes. The perfect example that probably everyone has already heard about is when iOS 14 came out years ago. There were people who were absolutely crushing it on Facebook ads, and they had a really good skill set for Facebook ads. Everything was going really smooth. They were running campaigns that were really profitable. But then the new iOS 14 update came out, tracking went to shit, and suddenly the campaigns that were printing 5x ROAS or 7x ROAS went to red overnight. And then they had to learn how to tackle this problem, and they needed to learn new additional skills to actually be able to tackle this problem. And those are pretty much the main cons that I have with the SMMA model. So now you might be thinking, okay, you said that all of these models are great, so who should start out with SMMA and who should actually go into social media marketing? In my opinion, the perfect people for social media marketing and the people who should actually go into it are people who already have experience with cold paid advertising, so they don't have to start learning paid advertising and doing Facebook ads and doing social media content and copy and creatives from completely zero, because like I said, it can take years to actually become great at that stuff. So in my opinion, this model is perfect for you if you already possess that skill set, because then you can already start leveraging that, and you can sort of start focusing on, okay, how can I get higher quality clients in? How can I do client acquisition better? How can I actually tweak my service delivery process? Of course, you're still going to be learning, but you are building everything based on a foundation that you have already set. Then in my opinion, the second characteristic that these people should have is that they have a long-term goal of becoming extremely valued experts, even if it takes 10 years. So if you have the mindset that, okay, I want to literally become the best paid advertiser in the whole world, and you're ready to do the work and you're ready to put in your 5-10 years into the game, but you know that, okay, after those 10 years or after those 5 years, it's going to all pay off. If you have no rush, if you have a fairly stable base right now, you're not really in need of money, or you don't need to make the change quick, and you really want to play the long-term game and get absolutely amazing at this one skill, then in my opinion, this is a great route to also take. And then the last thing should be that they should be able to handle stress well and adapt really quickly, because the paid advertising world is an ever-changing world. There's always something changing. The algo changes, compliance changes, so you need to be able to handle stress well, and you need to be able to adapt quickly to these things. Then going into AI automation agencies, or pretty much AI automation, that's extremely broad concept. There's a bunch of stuff going on in that business model. There's a bunch of different options, automating processes, automating workflows in the business, putting in different processes in place, putting in different AI things in place. A great business model for sure. But what are the pros of this business model? This is of course something that you want to hear. So in my opinion, the pros of this business model is that it's really trendy right now. A lot of people want to do AI. Not everyone really understands it that well, and it's a fast changing industry. Right now we are still in the age of early adopters. If you are really focused on AI right now, you're still for sure ahead of the curve. Second pro on doing AI automation agencies, in my opinion, is you learn a lot of businesses / models well. So of course, to be great at this stuff and actually run a great AI automation agency, when you work with a company, you really need to focus on what they're doing, like really go into the nicks and knacks and all of the small details in their processes, so you're actually able to put in good systems in place. If you do that 5-10 times in 2 years, you're really gonna see a lot of variation. You're gonna get a lot of experience and you're gonna see a lot of edge cases. The experience and edge cases, it is extremely valuable, because even if you have really high value skills, if you still miss the experience, those skills won't matter, because you only can use the skills if you have some experience to base them on. You go into business, okay, I have already seen this, last time we solved it like this, last time we did this and it didn't work, last time when they were doing this, the actual problem was XYZ and not actually ABC. So you're able to get a lot of experience, you're able to build this gut instinct in enhancing and optimizing these businesses. Then, in my opinion, one pro with the AI automation model is, once again, if you do it correctly, you are forced to stay up to date on the market. So if you really want to run a good AI automation agency, you're pretty much forced to really stay up to date on what's happening with AI, what are the latest advancements, what are the latest tools, what are the latest technologies, how is the AI actually getting built out, and what are the things that are happening in the market on macro and micro level. So it pretty much forces you to stay in touch and like really see what's happening in a really trendy, fast growing industry. And if you're able to do that, you're able to have all the really valuable insights that a lot of companies really need. And then the last pro is one of the biggest pros in my opinion, is the protocols that you actually end up delivering for your clients are simple to systemize after X amount of iteration. After you have gone through, let's say 5 or 10 companies and you have put in place certain set of automations, you're going to really clearly see that, okay, this is something that we do every single time and it has a big impact. This is something that we do also, but it doesn't really have a big impact. This is something that always fixes this problem and this always fixes this problem. So when you do it 5-10 times, it might take you a year or two, but after you have done that for a few years, you're gonna have a lot of these great experiences, you're gonna have a lot of this data in your head, and you're able to systemize a lot of these processes. But then of course, if there's pros, there are for sure cons. That is the sad truth of the world. Once again, in my opinion, one of the biggest cons is multiple high level skill sets. So like we talked with the Facebook example already, if you have multiple high level skill sets that you need to learn in order to be effective with the business model, it's gonna slow down the efficiency where you are able to execute and learn at. You need to learn this and you need to learn that and you need to do it at the same time, so you're going to be learning half or 3 times as slow that you normally would learn if you would just be focusing on one simple thing. Then, in my opinion, the second con is the unpredictability of this industry. There's so much stuff happening and there's always so much new stuff coming on, so even if you're working with the early adopters, you need to be changing all of your processes. Like you might find a thing, okay, this works extremely well, this that we always should do, and then 3 months later, someone builds something new and you're like, fuck. We need to start over again with this part of the workflow and with this part of the process. Then the third con, in my opinion, is sophistication and awareness of the market. It's a really new thing. Not a lot of people understand this stuff yet, and not a lot of people focus on it yet, and they don't even know that they need it. So the sophistication level and the awareness level is really low. So what it means is you need to do a lot of educating with these prospects in order to sell them on the idea that they should focus on this on the first place, or they should invest money into this in the first place. Of course, you're always gonna have the early adopters of, yeah, I'm gonna do it. They already know what they need and what they want. They already understand this stuff. That is a small piece of the market. You can't rely on selling to that one small piece of the market. You actually need to be able to generate demand. Then the last con that I want to mention, and of course this might be a bit of a biased thing for me because I'm a really marketing heavy person, but it really doesn't make you an amazing marketer or someone who can drive revenue for these companies. Of course, you're able to make processes more efficient, and of course, they probably already have all of these great things in place. I truly believe, and like I've already mentioned, is the more value you generate in the market, the more successful you're gonna be. And what I have noticed, the easiest way to deliver value is generate someone revenue, solve revenue-focused problems, and make someone more money. It's way more tangible to sell. You make 10K, you pay me 3, or I made them 100,000, or I made them 300,000, or I made them $1 million. I took them from 20K to 30K, whatever it might be. It's easier to sell. It builds a skill set that is way more valuable in the long run, and it forces you to just become a great marketer and a salesperson when you work in marketing and sales. I'm not saying that AI and automation is marketing and sales, but at the end of the day, it's really like back-end and ops. You can disagree, but that's pretty much what it is. Of course, I have a little bit of a bias because I have been in marketing for a long time and I absolutely love it, and I think that's one of the best things to do, marketing and sales. So I just think that for a lot of beginners, it would be more valuable to just get really good at marketing in the service-based business, and then when you are really good at marketing and sales, sales, then you're able to take those skills and you're able to use them later on in your life into different opportunities. You always are gonna be able to grow companies and generate revenue. So even if you start something new or start working in another company or you have another client and you need to improvise a bit, you still have the foundational and fundamental understanding of what makes money, why people buy, what actually gets people to act on a certain thing, buy a product, buy an offer, buy a service, click a button. And when you understand those things, it's gonna make you way more valuable in the field of business as a person. So then we are asking, okay, who is this for? In my opinion, this is perfect for tech-heavy people. So maybe you have an industry in tech, you are a clear early adopter, don't mind playing the long game when you're waiting for the market to get more sophisticated and aware about these things, and you don't see yourself working in marketing and sales-driven positions in the future. Amazing. And then the last thing, building a B2B lead generation agency. And if you already don't know what is a B2B lead generation agency, pretty much you are using cold email and different outbound lead generation mechanisms to get leads and clients for other companies. So, in my opinion, one of the hugest pros with this model is there is only one high level skill set. When you're working as a lead generation agency, your whole pretty much bread and butter is going to be client acquisition. How to get more leads, how to identify great niches, how to position the offer well, and how to just book meetings with these people and how to just get them to buy. Then when you sign a client, you use the same methods to do service delivery for them. So you send cold emails, you get clients from cold emails, and then you deliver cold email as a service for them. So you only are learning one skill and you just need to become really great at this one skill, which is cold outreach, cold outbound. And when you nail that, then you pretty much are able to grow your company and also get really good results for your clients. Then, in my opinion, the second pro with this model is simple and tangible. It's extremely simple and straightforward to see what kind of value you are delivering. You book 10 meetings for someone, they already know. That were the results that you got. 10 meetings, okay, we close to your clients, and one client is worth 10K. We made 20K from these 10 meetings. Boom. Let's do it again next month. You can just charge them X amount of dollars for one meeting that you book. So you might charge them $300 for a meeting booked, and you know that, okay, on average, one meeting is going to be worth $2,500 for them. So they're almost 10xing their money every single time when you book a meeting for them. You book 10 calls, you get paid 3K, and they, on average, after they close those clients and after they close a few clients from that, they make 25K. So it's simple, it's straightforward, it's easy to understand. And that's what I love. Also, one big pro, once again, I have talked about it, but it really forces you to become great at marketing and sales. So because you're going to be working on their lead generation process and you're going to be working on delivering them leads, identifying great niche, scraping them leads, all of this good stuff, it really forces you to become really good at understanding why people buy, why people get interested, why they book calls, how they actually go through the sales process, and also how to actually convert these people. Then you are solving one of the most painful problems in the market. And this is not just something that I have came up with. There actually has been a lot of studies from this. In a sales process, almost every single sales rep and company says that the hardest part of the sales process is prospecting. And like I have already mentioned, if you solve problems that are revenue focused and you solve them well, you're delivering the most amount of value to the market that you possibly can. And when you deliver a lot of value to the market, what happens? You get successful. You get paid a lot of money for it. And then the last pro that I want to mention is it's based in marketing and sales principles. And why is this great? So pretty much what this means is when you do outbound, when you do lead generation, it is not platform reliant. Pretty much your whole job is to figure out what is the best market for your client to go into, or what is the best type of companies to work with, and how to actually take their service and their offer and how to position it in a way that the market actually wants to buy it. And then you are just communicating this thing with a message, with a digital message or even physical message. So it's not relying on a platform. The only thing that really it's relying on is as long as there are businesses in the world that are selling services or products to other businesses and they sell them by communicating in some ways, emails, DMs, phone calls, physical letters, homing pigeons, whatever it might be, you are able to get results. But then, of course, there's also some cons. So in my opinion, one of the first cons is that there is a lot of noise in the market. And what this means is every single week or every single month, there is some new company or new tool or a new strategy how you can do lead generation, how you can actually get these leads. And if you are not focused and actually dialed in and you don't trust your own process, you're able to get distracted by a lot of these new things coming up. Or maybe I'll try this, or maybe this new tool is better, or maybe I'll go with this, or maybe I'll go with this. And actually, the first thing that you're already doing would have worked amazingly well. It's a really ever-evolving industry. Lead generation makes so much money for companies that there's always going to be people who create new tools and new products for lead generation. So you need to be focused and dialed in, and you can't hop from different strategy to different strategy, because otherwise you're never gonna really get good at one thing. Second con, outbound can take time to crack. It can take time to actually get it working extremely well for a company. But the main thing is when cold outreach is working for a company, it is the most predictable way to get leads. It gets the highest quality leads because you can actually choose who you actually target. It's not relying on any platform, and usually those leads are the easiest to close because they're really high intent because they come from cold outreach. So it's the best lead generation method or client acquisition method for a company. But what that also means is sometimes it can take 2 to 3 months to get it really well working for a client. So a lot of people, when they start out with it, they have the wrong expectations, and they tell the wrong expectations to their client. They're like, yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks and we're gonna be ready to rock. And then when they actually go through 2 weeks, they realize that shit, there's actually more work to do to get this thing working really well. And the last con of running a lead generation agency, in my opinion, is there isn't much information about it. Because if you look at like running an SMMA agency or AI automation agency or whatever it might be, there's YouTube is full of these things, and there's a bunch of courses and bunch of stuff about running these business models. But there's nothing really about running a lead generation agency. Like, of course, my channel has over 100 videos explaining on lead generation agencies. We have a free course. So of course there's me, but there's not really that many other people teaching how to build a lead generation agency. And the reason for that is there's not many people doing it. There for sure is way less information about this model than the other models out there. So who this business model, in my opinion, is perfect for? In my opinion, it's perfect for people who already have some kind of experience in marketing, sales, or software. Second thing is if you want to work with 3 to 5 clients at a time to make 6 to 7 figures. With a lot of these models, it requires you to have a lot of clients, and for some people, they like that. They like building big teams and big organizations, but of course, you're gonna make less profit that way. But main thing, like how you're really gonna make a lot of money when building a lead generation agency is you just take like 3 to 5 really good clients, and then you just work on scaling those businesses up. Also, it's going to be perfect for the people who know they are going to be in marketing, sales, or business for a long time. So if you already know that you want to build a business, you want to make millions of dollars, you really want to take the entrepreneurial path, in my opinion, building a lead generation agency is one of the best ways to go, because you actually learn how to position an offer and how to pick a niche and how to actually get clients at a really fast rate. So then when you build your own business, you already have that skill set and you're already really good at it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are interested in building a lead gen agency, we have written an in-depth over 100-page document going into extreme detail on how to pick the niche, how to create the offer, how to send the emails, everything that pretty much you need to do from A to Z to scale your lead generation agency. It took me over 100 hours to write. It's going to be on the pinned comment, so you can go and check that out and start ripping through it yourself, building your agency and actually getting sick results like I mentioned. If you enjoyed, drop me a like. If you didn't, drop me a dislike. And if you have seen already a few of my videos and you like this kind of stuff, drop me a subscribe so you'll never miss these bangers again.